until the leaves return. In a quiet village nestled between rolling hills and fields of lavender, lived a young woman named Alara. She spent her days tending to her family's flower shop, arranging bouquets that seemed to capture emotions in petals, joy in sunflowers, sorrow in lilies, and love in red roses. Though her hands were always busy, her heart often wandered to a world beyond the village, where life was not routine but full of wonder and passion. One crisp autumn morning, a stranger arrived. His name was Caleb, a photographer from the city who had come to the village to capture the changing seasons. He walked into the shop, asking if he could take photos of Alara's flowers. She agreed, curious about his quiet demeanor and the camera he held with such reverence, like it carried his soul. Over the days that followed, Caleb returned again and again, not just for the flowers, but for her. They would talk for hours. Alara shared stories of her childhood, her dreams of seeing the world, and Caleb spoke of cities with lights that never dimmed and skies that never stayed the same. He showed her photos he'd taken, of storms breaking over mountains, children laughing in narrow streets, old lovers holding hands beneath ancient arches. As the leaves turned golden and fell, so did they, falling for each other in ways neither had expected. Alara's laughter became the rhythm to Caleb's days, and his gentle way of seeing the world brought color to hers. They kissed beneath the trees, promised things they hadn't dared speak aloud before, that love was real, that home could be a person, not a place. But Caleb's time in the village was limited. Winter was coming, and so was a job offer in Europe he couldn't refuse. They stood together on the morning he left, their hands entwined, their hearts breaking with every goodbye. "I'll come back," he whispered. "When the leaves return." Seasons passed. Letters came, then stopped. The village remained, and Alara continued to work in the flower shop, hiding her longing in petals. People said Caleb had forgotten her. But Alara never let go of that promise. One spring, just as the first buds bloomed and the air smelled of lavender again, the shop's door chimed. There he was, camera in hand, a little older, eyes still full of her. "I'm sorry it took so long," Caleb said. "But I told you, I'd return with the leaves." And this time, he stayed. They married in the garden behind the shop, surrounded by flowers and the village that had first brought them together. And every autumn, as the leaves turned gold and fell around them, they held each other close, grateful for the seasons that passed, and the love that endured them all. Until the last star fades. In the quiet town of Belshore, nestled between rolling hills and a sleepy lake, lived a girl named Alara. She had grown up with the wind in her hair, the scent of old books in her room, and dreams bigger than the sky. Her world was small but filled with wonder, until one autumn day, everything changed. That was the day she met Cale. He had come from the city, a stranger with a quiet voice and a camera always hanging around his neck. He moved into the old house next door, the one that had been empty for years, and from the moment Alara saw him, something shifted. It wasn't love at first sight. It was curiosity, an invisible string pulling her closer. Cale was different from anyone she'd ever met. He didn't talk much, but when he did, it felt like the world slowed down to listen. He saw beauty in things she never noticed, raindrops on window panes, the way light touched her hair, the way silence could sing. They spent days walking through the woods, sharing secrets and stories. Alara told him about her dreams of traveling the world, writing novels, seeing the northern lights. Cale listened with a smile that said he believed in her more than anyone ever had. And slowly, without either of them realizing it, they fell in love. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, like snowfall. Like a heartbeat. They fell in love in the spaces between words, in glances held too long, in hands brushing accidentally and not pulling away. But love, like seasons, sometimes changes. Cale's illness came without warning. A rare condition, hidden deep in his bones, stealing his strength day by day. He hadn't told her at first, he wanted their time together to be filled with light, not shadows. When he finally did, Alara didn't cry, not in front of him. She held his hand tighter. She wrote him letters every night and read them to him every morning. She painted their memories on the walls of his room, each stroke a promise, you are not alone. As Cale grew weaker, Alara became his strength. She took him to see the stars one last time, driving through the night until they found the darkest place on Earth where the sky stretched endlessly above him. Lying on a blanket, Cale whispered, "Do you think stars ever fall in love before they burn out?" Alara smiled through tears. Maybe that's what makes them shine so brightly. He died 2 weeks later, with her name on his lips and her hand in his. Alara left Belshore after the funeral. She traveled to every place they had dreamed of together, Tokyo, Paris, Iceland. She wrote stories about love and time and stars that never truly die. In every word, Cale lived on. Years later, back in Belshore, Alara sat by the lake with her first published novel in her hands. It was titled Until the Last Star Fades. And when the sky darkened and the stars came out, she whispered, "I still see you. In every light. In every dream. In every word." And somewhere, somehow, she believed he heard her.